a week. I do one with you, and I do Kit Fairchild. So they can't just accuse me of only talking to white people. You and I got this deal going. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna take that line out of there. Oh, hold on. Repeat that while it's recording. What did you just say?
This was completely user error on my part. Do you know why I couldn't hear you? There is a
Because you
earbud
had
some there's a earbud somewhere on my work table that is connected to this computer.
okay. So I saw a video yesterday of this divorce lawyer in New York, and he
Mhm.
said that Steve Jobs is responsible for him making a fortune because when they tied in all the different Apple products, when your girlfriend texts you how great the sex was last night, it goes to your child's iPad as well as everything else. And that's how most people get busted now. Is that
That is
not
the funny
crazy?
part, right? Like even at times when I get a message on my computer or something, in the nights when I
Right.
go check my laptop, they all show as unread messages on that thing.
Crazy stuff. Hey, okay, so I got something to talk to you about. So
Mhm.
what was the name of the of our treatment that we wrote up? Okay, Gov, right?
Yeah, okay, governor.
Okay, so this may be playing out more in real time than I care to actually admit.
Uh-huh.
Okay, give everybody a little explanation for this because you and I worked on this. We wrote it in what, 2 days?
Yeah, it was during the pandemic, and we were like, hey,
Right,
I think we should write this show because Oklahoma politics is so crazy. This is like
right,
2022?
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So so we figured out the characters, wrote it in, and the storyline is this guy runs for lieutenant governor that really doesn't want to be anything more than he wants to travel for free and surf and jump out of airplanes. I think that's fair, right?
yeah.
So we open the show, and folks, the way you write this is you literally sit down on a computer and start writing. And there's software to help you with it and everything, but you have to know what your story is before you do it. So
Yeah, like the
give it a
easiest way to guide someone is I'll look at Sean and I'll be like, so where are we? And he'll describe the setting, and that'll be what I type in is that's the
right.
screen note.
And it works, right? Because you're
Mhm.
not telling people how to film it. There's professionals that do that. You're just giving them the ideas of the storyline. So we were opening up at a lake that's near my house, and the lieutenant governor guy was doing yoga on a what's the board? It's not a surfboard, but it looks like one paddleboard.
Paddleboard, yeah.
And he gets the call that the governor dies. Now nobody's died yet, but the reason I bring this up is the guy never wants to be governor or anything else. He just likes to travel for free. I
Hmm.
think that's probably fair.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's a risk taker. So obviously, politics here has gotten really crazy. And then on a national level, the Dems ran Kamala Harris instead of Joe Biden, which probably was still the best idea, but she wasn't able to win.
Hmm.
And so I think when they're going to all these national meetings, everybody's going, okay, we've tried all these things. The most popular person in polling right now is Pete Buttigieg, who's
Oh.
a really good guy.
Hmm.
But are you really going to run him after we failed at the really stunningly beautiful Blasian, who was smart and everything, couldn't win?
Yeah.
So I'm chatting with one of the main players, for lack of a better word, and I go, look, the way that this needs to work is you got to get somebody that used to be a stand-up comedian. You and I've talked about this. I'm telling this for the audience, not for you. A stand-up comedian to run because they're not going to win. But if you
Hmm.
used to be a stand-up comedian and you know how to deliver a one-liner, you can be on TV every night for a year and your career is revived, right? So there is something in it for you. And then there's something in it for everybody else because you can throw politics just into a whirlwind like Donald Trump, suck all the air out of the room, and it becomes your air. And then everyone else is like politely trying to figure out what to do. So he goes, yeah, but Sean, that's you. And I go, yeah, I know. The problem is it is. And I said, and then you just work we have 77 counties in Oklahoma for people who don't know, but really 6 of them are populated. The other 71 are not.
Hmm.
And those are predominantly very right-wing Republican leaning counties for no apparent reason, because there's a lot of poverty out there. And I said, yeah, just have them work those 6 counties. Don't even bother with the other one because that's where the votes are.
Yeah.
And these other people are not going to vote for you. My wife spent time going up to what's called the panhandle here. She got 6% of the vote. up there.
Didn't y'all travel to all the counties in Oklahoma during that 1 year
Yeah,
period? Mm-hmm.
absolutely pointless.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do it so you can say you did it. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work. You have counties that just aren't going to vote for you. So, so we get done with the conversation, and there's another political heavy hitter in the other room. So by the time it's all over, this person's like, "Hey, the two of us will manage your campaign." And I go, "I don't think I want to run right now. I mean, I really and truly, you know me, part of me really wants to, and then part of me goes, "Ooh, the timing's not that good." You know what I mean?
Sean, I think you should, because I'll write you one-liners that you can deliver in every county in Oklahoma.
I think we could have an absolute blast. So Kit Fairchild, that I do a podcast with, I do 2 podcasts a week. I do one with you, and I do Kit Fairchild. So they can't just accuse me of only talking to white people. You and I got this deal going. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to take that line out of there. So Kit Fairchild, and I joked about it, and I said, I could run for governor. You could run for lieutenant governor. Only do the 6 counties, because then we don't have to quit our day jobs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hey, you're freezing up on me a little bit.
Yeah, same thing's going on with you. It shows that your network is really weak. I have no idea how that's going on.
You set that up like 6 years ago. Sonic is probably jumping on my shit right now.
Yeah.
All right. Are we clear?
I think we're good for now. Yeah.
Okay. So Kit and I had talked about it over and over again, and we may talk about it again today just because this is coming up. There's no one else to run. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that we really need to understand. There's no one else to run.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Your example of Pete Buttigieg being like super popular in the polls, it would be so weird if he ran for something and got elected. And it basically means that America was okay with a gay man running and voting for him rather than a woman.
So of Ireland, which was a country, legalized abortion and now has a gay married prime minister, we have moved the opposite way. It's very strange because they were a shockingly conservative country.
Yeah. That is like one of the nice things. Nice things about Ireland. Nothing to do with you.
Guinness and a gay prime minister. And then this friend of mine's like, yeah, but he sucks as a prime minister. And I go, 50% of the population thinks everybody sucks as a prime minister. It doesn't matter what country you're from. Yeah. Half of the people think you're an idiot, and the other half think you're the greatest thing on earth. Mm-hmm. So, that's what I got going. I think we need to write some more. I think we got a deal here. I really do. And you and I did not know about Vladimir Volinsky when we wrote this thing, because he moved from a TV show to being, I don't know what his actual title is, whether it's president or...
I think it's president, right? Zelensky? Yeah, I think it's president.
Yeah, I think.
But then, wasn't there a U.S. comedian who was a senator? What was his name?
Yeah. And they got him with the pictures over the girl's boobs, holding his hands out, which is, folks, you've never been around theater people if you thought that was a big deal. The Democratic Party, of course, canceled him for that, and he was probably the only shot we had.
Oh, I did see a recent interview of his. I think it was Bill Maher's last show of the year. And it was nice to watch him on there. Mm-hmm. Al Franken, right?
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
Al Franken, yeah. Smart guy, but he's kind of got this kind of a voice, which doesn't say president. It just says, I can be from a state where it's okay to talk like this.
He just sounds like a less grumpier version of Louis Black, doesn't he?
Right, exactly. With better delivery, because Louis Black spits and yells everything. I do love him. He's the uncle that everybody wishes they had.
Yeah. Hey, wasn't that a great show when we went and watched him live in Rose State? Louis Black.
That was Rose State, yeah. But didn't he read like some diary stuff first?
I think he
didn't he have a book that he read out of first?
He did. He did read something off his iPad. I think he was reading messages or something people sent him before the show, which were relevant to Oklahoma.
There you go. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. He's awesome. We have two. Do you know we've got 2 ladies here that have a podcast that's pretty big, and they read their complaints. You and I need to read our complaints when we get them. because I'm sure they're classic. But these ladies their complaints are mean, like, and they don't have a mean show. You know, you and I tend to go down rabbit holes of depressing subject matter, like religious wars and stuff like that today. But they're two not middle aged, but maybe final quarter blonde ladies, and they're funny. I mean, they both live in Edmond. It looks like their studios in Edmond, which is probably in somebody's kitchen, you know. But they have good sound every week. Like their people remember to bring microphones, unlike me.
Sean, it's a miracle that we're able to do this on a week-on-week basis, considering that the sun is not out there and the sun is shining on my face here.
I know.
Did we freeze up
Crazy.
again?
Hey, I saw that the temp there yesterday was 84. You know where I don't want to be right now? No, I don't know. Hopefully you can get a show out of this thing, because it seems to be intermittent,
weird, right?
I believe is the correct term, sir.
Can you do me a favor and turn off the Wi-Fi on your phone?
Honestly, how does it work better without internet?
To be honest with you,
people.
It works better because I was the one who set up your pub's Wi-Fi, and I know how crappy it can get when you take video calls. That's why at times I used to tell people, get onto your mobile network.
So here's the deal. I think a lot of it is the place is covered in lead paint.
Oh, yeah.
And so no signals can get through. It literally blocks everything. Yeah, I know, because we as a pub, not that many people really and truly are on their phones here other than you. Everybody else, but you know, that's how you make your money. So I get it. But most other people are chatting. I mean, they chat up whoever they're with. It's kind of nice. Yeah. All right. What else you want to cover? We covered OKGov. We've got our schools. This guy created a board to redo books and stuff, because that's where the money is in schools. It's not in running a school. It's in the books. And he got these really weird, creepy old dudes that had radio talk shows and right-wing preachers and stuff to come up with our new book stuff. And it is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so weird. And so they're trying to figure out how to put the birth of Jesus of Nazareth in and everything. And so I don't think all this goes through our House and our Senate, but it elevates this guy to a level of top dog of the right-wing Christian world, maybe. That makes sense?
Yeah. There is this weird show called Silo on Apple TV. And it's a show where kind of the world has ended and they just live in this little silo. And
oh, wow.
They don't have books in there, Sean. Like only like a few people have books and know what it is to live outside of that building in the normal world. Wow. So they don't have, like, some of the people who are born and raised in that don't even know the name for what you call a star. They just call it lights in the sky. Like, so that is where we're heading, I feel like, where at some point we're going to be like, what the hell is that in the sky?
Well, it's. I mean, you think from an Indian standpoint, you guys have had doom and gloom back. I mean, it does seem to be a pendulum swing of politics. And the fact that not the smartest people all get to vote, you know, because you can't just say smart people get to vote, because they'll vote in their own interest because they're smart. We have a nice idea here that everybody gets to vote, but then nobody really does. So in the state I live in, we are the lowest per capita voting population in America.
Oh, wow.
Right. So we had one party rule for 100 years, which were the Democrats. And about 25 years ago, that flipped. And now we have one party rule, which is Republican. And what happens is everybody just goes, it isn't worth it. And so they just move on. I had a guy yesterday. I've got a lady I'm helping that's running for county commissioner, and I knocked on a door yesterday, and this guy literally was just vehemently against whatever I was for. Now, I am a clean-cut white guy that was the mayor of the town he's in, which is flourishing. Our town is flourishing, and eventually it won't be. I mean, that's the way it goes. But for right now, it is. And so I talked to him, and he goes, "What are you?" And he goes, "You a Democrat?" And I said, yeah. I mean, because I don't associate by party, because I just want to be in the less worst party. You know, the other one is shite. And then I've got this bucket of wet, maybe manure, maybe diarrhea that I can call mine.
Let's
You
say
know,
no, because we might be able to use it for plants, or it might just rot the plant's roots. We don't know yet.
if we add beer in there, it might help. So I don't really go, oh yes, I'm such and such, because I think that's the best party. I think they both suck. So and one of them is worse than the other one. And so he goes, well, if you're a Democrat, I'm voting Republican. I go, well, there's not a Republican running. So there's independents and there's Democrats. And I'm here to let you know that this person actually would be for people, not bought up by companies and all this other. And it took me about 5 minutes, and the guy came around, but he was just a contrarian for no apparent reason, no knowledge of anything. And this is the one thing that affects you, because we have to build a new jail, and it's going to be $1 billion. So you have an opportunity to have a say in it. And instead, just did whatever you're doing. I'm the opposite. And you go, why? I mean, don't I really look like exactly what you want to be in charge? Because I know I do. I know I do. What do you do with that stuff, man? I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, like I think that is like I can understand it because for the sole reason at times I'll do that and just disagree with an audience member because I find it fun to do that. Where I actually totally agree with them, but I'll just fuck with it for a second to see how they react.
What I would say in the guy's defense is, if you're at home when I go by your house at 9:30 a.m., it generally means you don't have a job or you're retired. I don't mean that in a negative way. Like either you don't have to work or, you work from home or something like that.
1 second, Sean, let me interrupt you. There was one time where a show I worked on used to air sometime at 11 in the morning once and 3 in the afternoon once. And someone once yelled out to me and they were like, Deepak, can you read out the demographics? And I just screamed out, unemployed and pensioners. That's all who's watching this.
Right. And that's who's at home when you knock. I mean, it really is. But guess who votes?
They
Pensioners.
do.
Pensioners for Americans means you're retired. You're living on a pension, which over here is not the case anymore, but we'll call you that anyway. But it's interesting because if you're only watching one version of news that they are absorbing, I don't like to say ingest, but they are kind of ingesting it because then it grows, right? I mean, is that an appropriate word to throw with news?
It's a very weird term, but
right. People go, no, they consume news
lighter.
But we ingest it because we don't really just consume it and nothing happens. We consume it and it grows. Negative, positive, in between. So anyway, it was a cool turnaround, which you don't get to have happen that often. But the city I live in is pretty medium. We have the highest lesbian per capita rate in the United States, is what my old city manager told us, which is unusual. And people go, why? And I go, do I look like a lesbian? I don't know. But I mean, I'll ask, but I'm going to look really rude when I ask. And so
I honestly think it's like a nice city with mostly nicely paved roads. Like when I used to take Daisy for a walk, it used to be like really safe to walk through that neighborhood, even if it was late at night.
Yes. I would like you to throw a little thing out to thank my wife for that one.
Oh, yeah. Kathy did.
There's the reason there's sidewalks and streets. What's weird is the old city council were just a bunch of old white dudes and then a couple of like 30-year-olds. And they just didn't find that stuff a priority. You know why? Because they didn't walk.
Yeah, I know. It used to be hilarious because the first time, I think, when we talked to the city council, it was basically about their website and how unusable it was from my mobile phone. That was my main complaint. Till Kathy was like, just read the whole damn thing, Deepak.
Right. Well, I mean, but your generation is who lives there now. So when you lived there, there were no little kids or anything like that. Some people had dogs. Every street is full at 5:30 at night. Like I can't bring my dog out because she attacks other dogs. Loves people, doesn't like dogs. So I have to take her out at the opposite times of other people. So it has grown and flourished. And what we proved is if you invest some money and make things nicer, people will use them. I mean, it's not that complicated. It's just not that complicated. So, well, let's, I know we got to get off here pretty soon. So let's swing back around to this, our script, which seems to be turning into reality. what we have to do is start, maybe every week we'll put 5 minutes into it to go, this is what needs to happen. So what I see in the background is other people will try to figure out how to make money off of it, which you and I have all these great ideas and do these things for people, but rarely make money off of them, which, we have to figure out how to solve that. Does that make sense?
Sean, anything that we do as a creative endeavor usually bites us in the ass.
I know. Great ideas rarely pay. You know what really pays? Picking up trash.
Yeah, but this is all karma for me. The amount of times I made fun of artists and I said, "Can I have a coffee, please?"
Hey, you got to do the whole joke. You got to do the whole joke. Let me do the setup. So Dheepak, when I'm in Oklahoma City and we're doing something, and because I used to be a professional actor who actually made a living and actually made money and bought a house with the money I made. And Dheepak was like, "Well, you know what we say to other actors?" And I'm like, "What's that?" And he goes, "Can I have another cappuccino, please?" And it is the best dig joke that exists if people are smart enough to get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's solid. It is solid.
But I honestly think this has just backfired on me now, where everything that we write like a pilot, and then we're like, okay, now?
Right. So what I'd really like to do is I'd like to figure out the date we wrote that, because we saw the future.
I'm going to send you that picture because I was actually going to make an Instagram post about it, because it has been almost 4 years since we wrote it, and everything we wrote is now coming true.
Yeah, pre-Ryan Walters. I mean, literally. And I see this is one of these things where people on the far right, the Christian right, are making their own movies that only get advertised in churches, and people buy tickets for the whole church and stuff like that. They have figured out a way to both make money and get the exact message they want out, where there's no reviews. Like, you don't get to negatively review it. It's just people talking to each other.
Yeah, and it's all people who are already your fans. So they really don't complain about what the hell it is.
Yeah, I know. So this past week, I have sold more books, Irish pub cookbooks, than I have since we launched it originally.
Oh, wow.
Right. And then, so I wrote that out there. I'm like, God, and everybody wants them signed and stuff. People are like, I didn't even know you wrote cookbooks. And I go, I got 2 of them. But
I know.
I
was actually planning to post that and start taking orders in India, because I think it makes sense. Because people would like to cook those things during the holiday season, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, it works. It works. But anyway, so yeah, it's back. But now I'm going to have to, I probably should have reordered books before the Trump tariffs. So they rolled back, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because, he's just going to put them wherever the hell he wants. There's going to be a hodgepodge, no organization to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Welcome to my world. I know. All right, man. I'm going to get out of here. It's good chat. Give some ideas to what we want to do with that script and do some. We need to pat ourselves on the back that we saw this shit coming.
I know. I'll send you a picture of it. I'll post and tag you. Cool. Hang on.
All right.
All right,
my friend. Have a good day.